What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Bianconeri zone, the day after probably the best game of the season in terms of from start to finish, because it was consistent, it was dominating, and post game Spalletti had a few things to say which confirmed that, also on the players, because he said, I saw something in training, a next step which allowed us to play this type of game, which wasn't possible before that. Even though we made quite some subs as well to the team, he also talked about not killing off games again, even though we absolutely dominated, suffocated Udinese. That is something he talked about. Also, something interesting on Openda and David that we need to keep in mind heading into that Napoli game, because we might see a change that we were not expecting to see after you finished watching the Udinese game as well. Then also some Gatti news, etc. So before we get into it, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. But for once, it was clean, it was dominating, and Spalletti was again very refreshing in his presser, saying what he wants and still not being happy, far from happy from what he's seen, because he believes that this team can take a couple of next steps, which allows us potentially to dominate other teams, not just Udinese. But before we get into it, like I said, smash that like button. Okay, so again, this is Spalletti ball, basically, or this is the closest we got to what Spalletti wants to see, because we dominate possession a lot of times. We pressed them, in the first 20 minutes, we it suffocated them. And even the second half, we never gave up anything. We were in full control, and that's what Spalletti wants to see. He praised that aspect of the game. He said, I saw something in training that I didn't see beforehand, and that allowed us to have this type of performance we had against Udinese as well. It's interesting because when he talked about it, he said we're still missing a few things, and we need to work to get that, because we're on the right path, but it's not the finish line. But he also said that we have a team that has a bit of everything, but they have to learn how to manage games. At times the ball needs to move quicker, at other times the ball needs to be a bit slower, to take teams completely out of the game. He said, the group is fantastic. They've been training well. I saw some new things. He said we or the team, they put Udinese in a position where it was impossible for them to actually breathe, to do something, to potentially put their own ideas on that pitch. But he also said a good quote. He said, no, let me not misquote it. Let me bring it up. He said, a true lion uses all his strengths, even against a little mouse. Otherwise, if a penalty incident doesn't come, you're always there needing to score another goal. And I thought that was a strong statement, because at the end of the day, we were in control, but it was 1-0. It was 1-0. And we know how football is. A deflected shot, a corner, miscommunication at the back, like the most ridiculous thing, we've all seen it, can cost you a game. So he was saying that, yeah, we were in control, but it was only 1-0. If that pen doesn't happen, then who knows what could happen. And that was a strong quote, because he could have easily come out and said this was perfection, even though it wasn't perfection. We won comfortably as well. But he said, we keep teams alive. That is a massive issue. We keep teams alive for way too long. And we kept Udinese alive, even though they didn't look alive. Score-wise, it's alive. It's alive. When we played Udinese a couple of weeks ago, they did nothing until that final 20 seconds before the half, and Zaniolo popped it in. Out of nowhere, because Udinese was nowhere in that game. Not to this extent, in this first half, but in general, they had nothing. And then Zaniolo popped up, one miscommunication, one misfocus moment, and boom, it's 1-1 out of nowhere. That can happen in minute 90, and then there's no 45 minutes to bring that game back. So that was interesting as well. What was also interesting is what Koopmeiners said. He said, because he played a good game, Koopmeiners, and his passing was better. It's more daring, it was more adventurous. There was more of a purpose behind it, and it was clean. It wasn't, how do you want to say it? Like scared, at times, before, remember last season, he looked scared to even control the ball. And most of the times he miscontrolled the ball just because he was scared to, well, miscontrol it. He looked good. He looked like a player who has a purpose out there, who knows what he potentially can bring to the team as well. And Openda didn't got on the score sheet, unlucky. Jonathan David didn't got on the score sheet, but unlucky. He also said that we have these players right now, different players. They can play together, but we can use Openda. I think the way he spoke, it feels like he's going to use more of an Openda type against Napoli, assuming Napoli will come out and attack us, which I think they're going to do. Um, I thought it was interesting. I thought it was very interesting what he had to say, because he is one of the few people out there probably who really believes in this team. He said there is so much quality in this team. It's about mindset. It's about belief. And he also said again in training, I saw something else which allowed us to take a next step. A next step was dominating and being in the game for 90 minutes. The issue is we didn't really kill off the game soon enough. That's his issue, which I think we will fully back, and fully understand. But this is the closest we got to what Spalletti wants to see of his team, and it cannot be a one-off. It cannot be back to square one against Napoli, completely to square one. They are a better side at this moment in time as a team, no question about that. But you cannot go from this to a performance like we had against, name it, one of those teams where you watch and you're like, oh my God, what the hell was this again? What did we watch? We were nowhere near in the game. We lost control. We had absolutely nothing going. You cannot go back to one of those performances against Napoli. But, if happy Spalletti, because he keeps believing that this team can change something. On Gatti, let's see what the news is, but the early news is just not good. It's extremely worrying. Let's see what will be confirmed, etc. But it was no contact. Spalletti said he felt something crack in his knee. Like I tweeted out immediately when I saw that. I was like, he could be out for the year or the season, and that was being very nice because that didn't look good at all, and that doesn't help us at all. It's another issue at the back, and that's not good. Whatever you think about Gatti, you need to have a squad, and if you're missing players for months and months, then yeah, at one point it becomes an issue again. But we cannot do anything about that. Just hope it's not that bad, and hope no other issues, long-term injuries, keep happening to the squad because yeah, we already have squad issues in general, and then if you add that to it, it becomes extremely difficult as well. But Spalletti, another strong statement and also a strong reaction from the team, according to him, because they showed something that wasn't there the previous weeks, months, years, whatever you want to call it. So in the comments, let me know what do you think about that performance. Is it getting closer to what Spalletti wants to see? Because who knows? Maybe this is the starting point for real Spalletti football at the club. Thanks for watching and see you later. Ciao.